Hello, welcome back to another breaking news update. My name is Jimmy Boyd, and you were watching Boyd News. I want to thank you so much for tuning in today. I'm back with some more updates coming out from the war between Russia and Ukraine, and I've got lots of big news to share with you today. So, over the last couple weeks, I've been letting you guys know that Ukraine's military intelligence directorate has been warning that the Russians are preparing a major offensive in the south, primarily in the Zaporizhzhia region, maybe even the Kherson regions as well. So we have an update today that a Ukrainian partisan group, also known as Atesh, is warning that they've spotted military vehicles moving from Crimea, most likely headed over to Zaporizhzhia. Okay, I've got lots of pictures to show you guys today of a military column, Russia's military column heading from Crimea on over to the Zaporizhzhia region, most likely. And this is probably in preparation for Russia to carry out their major offensive in the south. And we've been warning about this. This was coming here very soon. And Ukraine's military intelligence directorate warned back around, I think it was like December 3rd, that by the 5th, we could be potentially seeing this attack being carried out. So it looks like now that today is December 12th, the Russians are preparing this offensive. It looks like they're moving equipment. You can see here, looks like they're moving some sort of track vehicle through Crimea on up to probably Zaporizhzhia or the Kherson region. Okay, so we're going to talk more about this today. I also have some reports of explosions being heard in the Kursk region. We don't know exactly what from. I tried to research this, but I couldn't find exactly what was the target. Potentially a drone attack being reported in Kursk region. We've got videos coming out from that area to show you guys. Also from the Donetsk region, an ammo warehouse was destroyed in the city of Markino. I've got video footage to show you from there as well. Ukraine supposedly destroyed a major ammo warehouse in that area. Also, a drone attack being reported on the building of the 2nd Regiment of the Chechen Interior Ministry in Grozny. Okay, this is in Chechnya in Russia. Okay, so major drone attack to report there as well. And finally, one more thing we're going to be discussing today also was some reports yesterday coming out that Neptune missiles and various other types of missiles potentially being used, maybe ATACMS, and also the Peklo, maybe Palinitsia drones were also being used to attack Crimea. There was a major missile attack being reported yesterday. Now, there hasn't really been any information coming out on that yet, but lots of sources yesterday were sharing that there was a major ongoing attack yesterday, or I guess I should say last night, inside of Crimea. So, looks like Ukraine was hammering Russia again pretty hard last night, and we do have some video footage to show you guys. So, real quick, we're going to talk about these military columns that were spotted coming from Crimea, heading on over to the Zaporizhzhia region potentially, or maybe the Kherson region. So this is from the Kiev Post. Russian military column spotted heading to Zaporizhzhia from Crimea, according to partisans. Ukrainian partisans reported a Russian military column, a convoy, carrying tanks and armored vehicles, moving north through Crimea toward Zaporizhzhia, probably intending to intensify offensive operations. Okay, this just coming out today, December 12th, 2024. Here's another picture of a Russian military vehicle transporting what looks like some sort of tracked vehicle, maybe a tank over here on the back or a BMP. It says right here, the Ukrainian Atesh partisan movement has reported tracking a column of Russian military vehicles moving north through Crimea. According to a post on its Telegram channel on Thursday, December 12th, the column was likely headed toward the occupied Zaporizhzhia region, where Moscow is preparing to intensify its offensive operations. The column included a significant number of armored vehicles, including tanks, BMPs, and APCs, as well as military tractors and trucks, the partisans wrote. Additionally, Atesh said, all the information we have gathered has already been passed on as intended. We know where and how to stop this equipment from reaching Ukraine, mainland Ukraine. Okay, so I'm curious to see what they're going to do to stop all these Russian vehicles to head over to Ukraine. I mean, we do know that at least inside the northern portions of the Zaporizhzhia region, we know that the Ukrainians have been beefing up their defenses pretty heavily. They've been placing lots of mines. They've been building lots of trenches. Lots of defensive positions are ready to go in preparation for this major offensive that's coming. That has been reported multiple times from Ukraine's military. But it looks like we could be potentially seeing a major preemptive strike on this Russian military column heading up to that area. Maybe that will be the case. Maybe HIMARS or something like that will attack it, is what I'm thinking. But we haven't seen that happen just yet. And I think this was around like central Crimea where these vehicles were spotted at, okay? So now we're going to move on to X, and I've got some things I want to share with you guys over here. So let's go ahead and jump on over to X. Okay, we've got this report here from NOAA Reports. Russia forces are transferring military equipment from Crimea towards the Zaporizhzhia region, likely to support their upcoming offensive. The convoy includes armored vehicles, tanks, BMPs, BTRs, as well as military tractors and trucks. Okay, so we got a few pictures we can show you guys here. Here looks like a BMP or some sort of armored track vehicle being transported there, like we showed you guys on the waiting screen when you came in. Okay, here's some more transport vehicles being used as this Russian column is supposedly heading on up to the Zaporizhzhia region. Here's another photo right here as well. Looks like another armored personnel carrier or some sort of IFV being carried on this truck right here. And finally, one last picture, okay? So it looks like multiple military columns or vehicles being spotted coming from Crimea, heading over to the Zaporizhzhia region. So it looks like this attack could be potentially imminent, okay? We have been hearing recently from Ukraine's military intelligence directorate again, stating that by December 5th, this attack could come. It hasn't come yet. It's about 7 days past that now, but it could be coming very soon now that we're starting to see this equipment heading over to the Zaporizhzhia or Kherson regions. Okay, now we're going to move on to these explosions that were heard in Kursk. Now, again, I don't know exactly just yet what the target was up in these areas. I'm thinking most likely these were drone attacks that were happening, but you're going to be hearing explosions in multiple videos here off in the distance. So this is from Jason J. Smart. Large explosions in Kursk. Russia as Ukraine delivers a late shipment of karma. Don't invade your neighbors and life is more calm. Okay, so you're going to hear some explosions in the background. This was happening last night in the Kursk region of Russia. Take a look. All right, so we don't know if this was a missile or a drone being used. My guess is probably a drone that targeted the Kursk region inside of Russia. And you can definitely hear that major explosion in the background there. Lots of car alarms going off. I've got more videos to show you guys as well. So we'll move on to another update from NOAA Reports. Explosions in Kursk are reported. Okay, here's another video as well, 12 seconds long. You're going to hear some explosions in the background as well. Take a look at this. Okay, judging by the sound of this video, it almost kind of sounds like a missile attack. I'm not sure if this was ATACMS over here in the Kursk region. I mean, we have been seeing ATACMS hitting the Kursk region multiple times over the last several weeks. So it's possible this one could have been a missile attack inside of Kursk, because that was definitely a much deeper explosion when that went off. So let me know what you think down below, though. We don't know exactly whether these were missiles or drones being used, or what was even the target inside of the Kursk region. But as soon as I get that information, I will share that with you guys, okay? Also from Max24, Markino, Donetsk region, warehouse with ammunition. Okay, so here's that report. Multiple sources were sharing this. An ammo warehouse over here in the distance in Markino in the Donetsk region, in occupied territory currently controlled by the Russians. Looks like the Ukrainians struck an ammo warehouse over here. You can see it exploding in the background, okay? Major fire over here in the background. And yeah, once again, another successful strike from the Ukrainians, taking out another ammo dump, okay? Also, from Max24, the Russians also report a UAV attack on the building of the 2nd Regiment of the Chechen Interior Ministry in Grozny, okay? So this is just a quick clip. It's 3 seconds long that keeps looping, but we can see a major UAV drone strike over here in Grozny in Chechnya, supposedly on this 2nd Regiment of the Chechen Interior Ministry, okay? We've got another video here also coming out from Chechnya, from Max24, more from Chechnya. Okay, so this video is 9 seconds long. It's going to be showing a major explosion just beyond this tall, bright lit building over here on the top left of your screen. You're going to see a major explosion, and you're going to hear the sound of it as well. So take a look at this. Okay, so that was probably that Interior Ministry building being directly struck. And we can definitely hear that explosion in the background. You can see that the night sky being lit up there. And then also, just briefly, you can hear some gunfire, which is most likely some of the Russian troops trying to take this drone down as they saw it incoming. Okay. We got a couple pictures here also that were shared from Max 24, which he states here that building of the 2nd Regiment of the Ministry of Internal Affairs in Grozny after a drone strike, there is a hole in the roof from which flames can be seen. Okay, you can clearly see that right here. You can see the top of the roof, kind of like a triangular shaped roof, and you can see a hole there with fire coming out of it. Here's another horrible picture, but you can kind of see there too, that hole in the top of the roof with fire there coming out, okay? So pretty crazy. Also moving on to another update from Chuck Farrer, indications and warnings. Neptune strike. Multiple sources are reporting that a multi-wave Ukrainian attack is hitting targets in occupied Crimea. At this hour, Neptune surface-to-surface missiles, Peklo and Palinitsia cruise missiles, and possibly ATACMS are smashing multiple Russian bases. Okay, again, so this was being widely reported yesterday. We don't have a whole lot of details yet on what was hit. I mean, obviously, if this was Neptune missiles striking Crimea, I would think this would be widely reported, but we haven't really heard anything yet, even coming out from mainstream media. So it looks like multiple targets potentially being hit in Crimea with, for sure, Neptune surface-to-surface missiles, maybe even Peklo, Palinitsia cruise missile drones, and also ATACMS potentially as well, striking inside of Crimea. So we'll wait for some more reports to come out. Maybe I'll get some more information today, but there hasn't been a whole lot coming out on this yet. But definitely the Russians were complaining a lot on Telegram that their air defenses were active down here in Crimea, trying to take down multiple targets incoming to the Crimean Peninsula. All right, now we're going to move on to some more updates that I want to show you guys coming out from this war. All right, from Max 24, Zelensky, I visited the first underground advanced surgical group in Ukraine. The hospital has already saved over 1,000 lives. Here, doctors receive wounded soldiers directly from the battlefield and provide them with medical care. Okay, so you're going to be seeing Vladimir Zelensky, the president of Ukraine, visiting one of these underground advanced surgical groups or hospitals that have been built inside of Ukraine. And Ukraine has been building a lot of these recently to protect their soldiers while they are in intensive care units and receiving care from their wounds during battle. Okay, so take a look at this, about a minute long.
Телевізор, PlayStation, щоб могли собі відключити. Вступають середньо. Поранені середньо ступені. Надавали нам фінансову підтримку в плані закупки матеріалів і кресло вибудовуєте якийсь досвід. Монітори, капнографи, відсмоктувачі і тому подібне. Представники іноземці, які хочуть бути дотичні до цього. В кому їхній спілкувався? В протокол не введені взагалі. Вони...
Дякую за службу. Дякую. Вітаю, бережіть себе. Дуже дякую.
Дякую.
Вітаю, Андрійович.
Служу українському народу.
Приємно привітати вас, познайомитись. Так, пан Калін. Дякую.
Дякую. Служу українському народу.
Дякую вам за службу.
Служу українському народу.
Дякуємо за збереження життя. Ну і бережіть своє життя. Слава Україні!
Героям слава!
Дякую.
Хочу окремо, як завжди.
All right, so it's very cool to see that Ukraine was able to build these underground hospitals, but at the same time, think about this. The reason why Ukraine has had to build these underground hospitals because Russia's been smashing all of Ukraine's hospitals everywhere, okay? We had the Okhmadit Children's Hospital just a few months back that was struck supposedly by Russian missiles. And just the other day, I reported to you guys, I think it was 2 days ago, that we had a major private clinic or hospital inside of the city of Zaporizhzhia that took direct hits from potentially multiple missiles striking that facility, okay? So lots of hospitals being destroyed in Ukraine. This is why they're having to start building them underground so they can treat their troops who get wounded on the battlefield, okay? So very sad situation. Moving on to another update from Glasnost Gone. Alexander Syrsky, commander-in-chief of the Ukraine's armed forces, visited the Pokrovsk front line. Currently, Russia's throwing everything into advancing on this town and reaching the Donestk regional border. Syrsky said combat is tough and Russian forces are prevailing primarily in manpower and throw forward all available forces in an attempt to break through our troops' defenses. Here's a couple pictures coming out from the Pokrovsk direction. And yes, we've been hearing a lot that the Russians are pressing hard in this area. They're actually getting very close to Pokrovsk right now, just to the south. They're almost starting to wrap around behind Pokrovsk on the southern front. So we'll see what happens over here, but the Russians definitely are getting very close to taking this city. And if this happens to be the case, I think it's very big potential that the Donetsk region is going to continue to collapse much faster, as Pokrovsk is a major transport and rail hub for the Ukrainian soldiers over there fighting in the Donetsk region. So that's why Russia's really trying hard to take over this city right now. So it's still very difficult over there, according to Alexander Sursky. Okay, also from NOAA reports, Ukraine is open to discussing the stationing of foreign troops on its territory, says Deputy Prime Minister for European and Euro-Atlantic Integration of Ukraine, Ola Stefanishina. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that right. Ukraine is ready to speak about whatever works, she responded. Okay, so this was a statement coming out from her today saying that Ukraine is open to deploying foreign troops. Okay, we know that France is open to doing that right now. I do have an update for you guys as well. I think Emmanuel Macron visited Poland today, Warsaw, to meet with Donald Tusk, the Prime Minister, and also Radoslaw Sikorski, the Foreign Minister, to try to see if Poland wants to send troops over to Ukraine as well. Obviously, after a ceasefire is considered by both sides, Russia and Ukraine. So it looks like Ukraine is open to this right now in terms of having foreign troops on their soil, okay? Also from Nexta, here's that report regarding Poland. Polish Prime Minister says Warsaw does not plan to send troops to Ukraine even after a ceasefire. I want to take this opportunity to put an end to speculation regarding the presence of troops from any country in Ukraine after a truce, ceasefire, or peace is achieved. Decisions regarding Poland's actions will be made in Warsaw and only in Warsaw. For now, we are not planning such actions, emphasized Prime Minister Donald Tusk. Okay, so here's a picture of Emmanuel Macron, the French president, meeting with Donald Tusk, the Prime Minister of Poland. And while they met today, this was a major statement coming out from Donald Tusk, is that Poland is not considering sending their troops to Ukraine anytime soon. But we know still for sure, as far as I know, France being one of the only countries that's being willing to send their troops and deploy them into Ukraine. Okay, also from Glasnost on, thanks to Putin's war in Ukraine, Russia's on the road to nowhere, with much of Russia having no hard surface roads. Russian road construction companies face mass bankruptcies in 2025 due to a reduction in state contracts and increase in central bank's key rate to 21%. Okay, there's a report that came out here, looks like potentially on the Moscow Times. It says Russian road builders warn of bankruptcies and industry degradation. Okay, once again, another major sign. Russia's economy is not doing well right now, okay? So even their road builders are warning of bankruptcies, okay? Industry degradation, that's very big, okay? If they can't even perform construction in their country, this is going to be even more infrastructure that's going to continue to fail. We're probably going to see bridges falling apart inside of Russia. We've already been seeing lots of critical infrastructure in Russia just completely collapsing, falling apart. We're seeing water pipes bursting inside of some cities like St. Petersburg even recently. So definitely a hard time over here in Russia with all these sanctions and the inflation gripping on to the nation. Okay, also from War Translated Dmitry, the response to the Ukrainian missile strike on Taganrog, which happened yesterday, we reported that, will be delivered at a time and in a manner deemed appropriate, stated Presidential Press Secretary Dmitry Peskov. I want to remind you of the clear and unequivocal statement made by the Ministry of Defense yesterday, where it was explicitly said that there will be a response. Okay, so we're expecting Russia to respond to yesterday's attack that I let you guys know. Ukraine launched a major missile and drone attack into the Rostov region, striking the city of Taganrog, which is down near the Black Sea in the Rostov region again. And there's a military airfield over there that supposedly was attacked by ATACMS missiles. And I believe that is the reason why Russia is going to come out with some sort of response, and it's probably going to be onto Ukraine. And we've been hearing as well that Russia may launch another Oreshnik medium-range ballistic missile into Ukraine here very soon, and the Pentagon confirmed that yesterday. Okay, also from Jurgen Nonnet, the situation in Russia's economy is serious. The State Duma is demanding Nabi Ulina, hopefully I'm pronouncing her last name right, or I'm not sure if that's her first name, resignation. Deputies from A Fair Russia, what a crazy name in this terrorist state of Russia, have introduced a bill that provides for the early removal of the head of the central bank from office. Okay, so she's the head of the central bank in Russia, and looks like they're trying to get her removed from her position as the economy is not doing well in Russia. Okay, so if the head of the central bank is getting pressured to step down and resign or be removed from post, then that's a huge sign that Russia's economy is very on unstable ground right now and in a very rocky position that, we could just see Russia's economy explode at any moment. I mean, we know their ruble is not doing good right now as well. I think last night it went up to like 108 or 109 rubles per dollar for their exchange rate. Okay, so their ruble's collapsing. They have high inflation. I think their interest rates are at 21%, expected to go higher. So their economy is not doing well, and the head of the central bank is getting pressured for that. Okay, also from Bliskovka, Deputy General Designer Mikhail Shatsky, who was involved in the modernization of the Kh-59 cruise missiles and the development of new UAVs, was shot dead in Moscow. This was reported by Russian oppositionist Nevzorov. We are waiting for official confirmation. So yes, apparently this man was taken out, okay? He was involved in the modernization of Kh-59 cruise missiles and new drones that Russia's using, and supposedly somebody took him out, okay? He was eliminated. And there is pictures that have been surfacing on X that I have seen. Unfortunately, I can't show them here. I think they're a little too graphic, but claiming that supposedly he was eliminated and taken out inside of Russia recently. Okay, so that was some big news coming out today. All right, also from War Translated Dmitry, Russia cannot complete a series of new frigates without Ukrainian engines, so it was forced to sell them to India. The engines for the frigates which were planned to be used for new missile weapon samples, were made by the Zorya Mash Project, hopefully I'm pronouncing that right, plant in Mykolaiv. And without them, as it turned out, it is impossible to build Russian ships. All right, so this was some interesting news coming out today as well, as looks like Russia's not going to be able to complete building these frigates that they were working on due to not being able to receive engines from Ukraine, okay? So obviously Ukraine would not hand these over to them. They're at war with them right now. That would not be a good idea, right? And something that I was thinking about also is maybe this is another large reason why Russia invaded Ukraine, was maybe they needed their industry, their industrial base inside of Ukraine to support some work like this, okay? Obviously, if they need engines to improve their naval capacities, then yeah, then that's a big deal for Russia, okay? So that just came out today. Also, from More Translated Dmitry, the BBC reports that sanctions have pushed Russia's aviation industry to the brink of survival. After the start of the full-scale invasion of Ukraine, the Russian United Aircraft Corporation planned to build 108 airliners. Instead, it completed only 7 Superjet 100s, which were actually pre-war projects. Okay, so when it comes to Russia's airline industry, it's definitely collapsing. It's not doing well right now. I even just saw a video recently from, I think it's called Domodedovo Airlines, is one of the airlines inside of Russia. They were showing one of their airlines that was landing in an airport, and the whole thing was just completely rusting away. It was not in good shape, and it didn't look like it was well kept, and I couldn't imagine flying on any Russian airlines right now due to sanctions. Apparently, they can't even upkeep their engines and maintain many of their aircraft due to a lot of sanctions and needing Western parts. So this is more sign right here as well that Russia's economy is not doing well, and even their airline industry completely collapsing, okay? So one last thing I want to show you guys from the Kyiv Independent. These are the indicative estimates of Russia's combat losses as of December 12th, according to the Armed Forces of Ukraine. Okay, so here's a diagram to update you guys with as of December 12th. 1,390 troops on average being lost over the last 24 hours. 28 APVs, 54 vehicles and fuel tanks, 6 tanks, 5 artillery systems, 1 special equipment, and 1 anti-aircraft warfare, 2 cruise missiles being destroyed. Okay, so Russia taking on more losses over the last 24 hours. These are just estimates that are released by Ukraine. I like to show you guys this once a day if we can. But yeah, lots of information coming out from this war today. Just wanted to get you caught up on what's going on over here. But just get ready for this major offensive that looks like it's coming in the south, primarily in the Zaporizhzhia region. But we also have been hearing that there may be a major attack in the Kherson region as well, upcoming from the Russians. So as soon as I get more information on that, I will update you guys on that. So I want to thank you so much for tuning in. If you got something out of this, please smash that like button. Also, if you enjoy my content, please consider subscribing down below. Hit the notification bell. That way YouTube can notify you. With that, hope you all have a great day. Everybody take care and God bless, and we'll see you in the next one.